Welcome. I'm Meredith. This is the Oasis Spiritual Empowerment Tarot, all about tarot, oracle, and empowering you. And finally, we're going to do a deep dive of the Global Fusion Intuitive Tarot, written and illustrated by Wayne Rodney. Now, I apologize for the lateness. This is my third time doing this. So the first time, I just kept getting interrupted. My daughter has the flu. My dog got into something. But then I recorded and I got over an hour. And I wasn't even halfway through the deck. So we're going to do it again. And maybe spend a little less time with each card. Because I clearly was spending too much. Before we get into the cards, I do want to get into the guidebook a little bit. Because, first of all, this is a fabulous guidebook. It's pretty chunky. It's got some it really packs the information in. And I'm not a guidebook person, but this is a great guidebook. And there are a couple points that I think are important to read from, so you get a good view of, a good understanding of the deck. So that's Wayne. So one key point about this deck is he's placed the minors before the majors. And I think it's wonderful. So basically, in his words, the placement of the minor arcana before the majors is done to reflect an aspect of a magical initiatic journey where the individual is first introduced to the elemental world, the lesser mysteries, before moving on to the world of the archetypes. And then he continues, I'm not reading everything. But then he says, this, however, is just my perspective. I understand that by placing the minor arcana before the majors for the Global Fusion Intuitive Tarot, I am dispensing with tradition. But that may very well be the point. Intuition sometimes guides us to take an unconventional approach, avoiding the beaten path, forging our own way toward innovation. Ultimately, it is my advice that each reader approach the deck in a way that is most compatible with them. My suggested format is simply what makes the best sense to me, and perhaps when seen in this light, you might approach your readings with a totally new perspective, which is fabulous. And it definitely makes great sense to me. He talks about an overview and history of the tarot, which is just, nice. Historical origins of the playing cards. Attempts at reconstruction and standardization of modern tarot. I will say, though, he talks about prominent figures, and you know who he does not mention? Aleister Crowley. Should be mentioned. I'm just saying. This, I think, is important, and I think it's very on point, so I want to read it. So he says, despite the different claims of Egyptian, Persian, Indian, Chinese, or primordial origins of the tarot, the imagery most closely associated with the characters therein is that of the European medieval or Renaissance heritage and iconography. This is not to say that other iterations do not exist, for in fact they do. The symbolism of the cards has always been adapted to suit the locale. However, on a personal level, since the beginning of this project in 2008, I have ever had the overpowering compulsion to remain true to the experience that I was familiar with, growing up in the multicultural melting pot of the island of Jamaica. I have expressed this cultural fusion in how I decided to portray the ethnicities of the various archetypes. In reality, These archetypes are unbound by race or creed, for they have none. They are universal symbols, and as such are meant to be reimagined by all people wherever the need arises. Beautifully put. Okay, so again, the minors come first in this deck. I'm not gonna get into all of this, but I really recommend this guidebook. Another key point I'll show you is the aces. Okay, the aces come at the end. I'm pretty positive when I've been using the deck, but I'm pretty sure they came at the end of each suit. And he talks about that basically, they have the symbol of the omega, right? Instead of a 1. Because the point is, think about like playing cards, right? If you're playing a card game, often an ace can be 1, but it also can be, oh my god, can't think of the number, 15. So it can come after the king, right? So it basically is ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, queen, king, ace again. And that's kind of the point of this, is to show the continuity, right? So these come after the kings in the deck. He does have numerological significance for ace through 10, which is fabulous. Then for the court cards, we have knaves instead of pages. Knight, queen, king. We have the season associated with each, plus some keywords just for all of them, right? So for every king, we have elder, sage, enlightenment, and winter. Then we have the knaves each have 2 animal associations, and of course their element. So like the knave of wands, but he does rename it, we'll get into that. We have dragon and mongoose, fire. Then we have 4 animals for the 4 knights, and I love this because the animals he uses are the Chinese mythological creatures called the Saizang, or 4 symbols. Each animal corresponds with a season that's associated with its particular suit. So like we have the vermilion bird of the south for the knight of sticks, which is wands, for summer. And his note, the Saizang were chosen as a homage to the culture that I believe was instrumental in giving us the playing cards that we are all familiar with today. I love that. All right, so then he does talk about the 4 suits. So we have, instead of wands, we have sticks. We have gems for pentacles, vessels for cups, blades for swords. So, it's really easy, He does give us the element, traits, astrological correspondences, and also known as. So, for sticks, we have wands or clubs. So then, he does give 1-page kind of overview of each suit, and he shows you the playing card association, which is important because when you look at the minors, that's what you get, right? So I'm going to tell you, it's, for the most part, it's pretty RWS. So if you're familiar with tarot, I don't think, even if you don't know these correspondences, I think you're going to know what suit you're looking at. Definitely the the articles are shown in the card. But if you don't, and if you ever got stuck, you could just look, because it does show at the beginning of each suit. I don't think there's like a straight list of them. Well, yeah, I mean, in here, so, I mean, the clubs, diamonds, hearts, spades, so it is listed here. It's just not shown in pictures. Then when we get into each of the cards, we get, I think for the minors, we get one page, we get a nice color image, a bunch of keywords, and then a paragraph that is a little unique. It does a little more than just, oh, if you pull this card, it means this. And it talks about the symbols used and some of the choices for the card, which I love. So then, and it is kind of, you can see like the color coding on the side, which is really nice. So like the blue for the vessels, we have gems for purple, and the blades are that gray. But then we get into the majors. So in here, it talks really about the majors, that journey, that division, terrestrial world, intermediary world, cosmic world. You know, so the first 7, second, third 7 of the cards. Then he has a note. Then we get into the cards themselves for the majors. So we have 2 pages, but basically 1 page of text. We get a much bigger color image of the card and the keywords. You will note that here on this is the full card. We have 0. We also have 22, right? Because he's at the beginning of the journey and he's at the end. So, and the end is not the end, right? It's just a new beginning. Okay, so now, because he did intend for the minors to come first, that's how we're going to do it. So I have the majors kind of set aside for now. Now, I've spent a good amount of time with this deck. I've had it, I don't know, definitely weeks at least. Oh, these are the backs. Look how pretty. These are so great. I'm gonna edge them in that yellow orangey color, and I guess I should show you. I would say they're dead on. I mean, it is U.S. games, so I guess I could use these cards to show size from now on. Nice cardstock. I like it. Shuffle beautifully. But the artistry is lovely. I want to read a couple of these cards to give you a good idea of what to expect from the guidebook and some insight into how the creator did what he did and why. So we have the 2 of Sticks, and keywords are ambition, initiative, outlook, surveying, overview, kindling, and direction. So it says, a brave scholar perches upon a cliff overlooking a valley. In one hand he holds a staff, while behind him another is planted in reserve, suggesting that he has an alternate plan. Both sticks are aflame, representing his creative will. The scholar stares intently into what lies ahead. He is cognizant that the world before him is full of potential and ready to be shaped by his vision. His posture is heroic, demonstrating his fearlessness. The dragon, hanging below him, is his spirit guide. It also gazes forward, indicating that he will have good fortune on his venture. Above his right hand, engulfed in the flame of his will, is the Taiji sphere, indicating that there are 2 paths that the man could take. Love, 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 love it. And I love that, he's describing what's there, but he's also describing basically why it's there, So the interesting thing, I love the way he did the backgrounds, by the way. I love that kind of, kind of faded out, blurred out. That's lovely. This art style, so his artwork's phenomenal, right? Clearly. It's not, this isn't an art style that would be my normal aesthetic. But sometimes a deck is more than the sum of its parts. And this is just it's so lovely. But this isn't a deck, like, to show for comparison, right? The Emma Poetica. Now, this is a deck that, I love the artwork so much. It just, love it. I mean, look at that. Right? This is my style, right? So, or one of them. Very, very different. Right? Very different. This is not, it's not a hit against this art style. It's beautiful. I mean, he's clearly super, super talented. But I guess my point is that if I were to just see one or two cards, I'd say, yeah, that's beautiful. It doesn't really appeal to me, probably. But I love this deck. Like, I really love this deck. There's so much. It's so evocative. The faces are just so beautifully, beautifully done. Yeah, and they're powerfully evocative, these cards. So, sometimes a deck draws me in because I love the artwork. I really vibe with it. And I just, sometimes it draws me in because it's so evocative, or it's so clever, or it's so, that's this case for me. And again, the artwork, super beautiful. So I'm not saying anything against it. It's just, I love that. I love that he's just sort of hanging on, and these attacks are coming, but, like, look at his build. Like, he's so strong. Like, he's going to make it up, And this is beautiful. And this, finally, we have that unique 8 of Wands. Instead of just a bunch of sticks being thrown through the air, we have something really unique and really special. And I love that we have this circular kind of movement. And here, I mean, look at his face and his hands. Like, the emotion is so clear and so powerful with this. Really, really fabulous. And this one is just, to me, there's that burden, and it's weighing down, and it's a struggle, and it's hard, but by the same token, we have signs of fortune, and it's like, just hang on just a few more steps. Like, you're so close. Oh, and we have, instead of pages, we have knaves, right? And one of the really interesting things with this deck, we have this youthful page, right? He's just beginning. And then we have the seasoned page, right? So he has so much more experience under his belt. So I love the way this was done. Now with the Knight I mean, you could just feel that energy. And I love with this red underneath, it's like this energy is coming from him, right? It's coming, it doesn't feel like, to me, like you could look at it and say, oh, it's a setting sun, but to me, it's like it's coming from here, right? From that seat of his core, of his strength. And the queen. And this is such an interesting queen. I love the way this background is done. So I'm going to read this one too, to give you an idea of the queen. And I'm not going to read all the keywords, but just that paragraph. The Queen of Sticks combines fiery regality with altruistic nobility. She exudes warmth and shines her light forward to tell us that she is in service of others. The Queen offers words of encouragement that will stimulate your enthusiasm. She represents a kind woman who is sincere and supportive. She is seated with her familiar spirit, the cat. Both of their gazes are fixed, penetrating, and scrutinizing. The Queen of Sticks has an intuitive sight that allows her to see beyond outward appearances to the truth of any circumstance. Approach her with integrity, she will not accept deceit. So it doesn't talk about some of the key things that stand out to me. Right, we have it looks like could be like this huge wave, like a tsunami kind of thing, and I feel like she's just holding it back. Right, she's in control, and she's rooted, right? And all of the queens have some kind of bird in a bottle. And to me, that again speaks to that control, right? It's there, and she could easily just reach out and release it anytime, but it's all under her control. Now the king, we see these vines have really, really kind of overtaken. They're even, right? They're like connecting him. And to me, that speaks of that kind of that connection with everything. It's like, all right, in the fall, to me, that it's a really powerful season. And it's like you can kind of feel the energy being released, right? With that change of the season, way more than any other to me. And that's kind of what I feel when I look at this, that connection. Like he's connected to all of this energy that's constantly being released and changed and moved, and he's kind of one with it. But at the same time, he's still himself, right? Now we have that ace, that powerful fire being given, being gifted. Fire of life, of passion, of inspiration. Now we get to the two of gems or pentacles. And for the most part, it's pretty standard kind of imagery. Although I will say, this one speaks to me of great ease, right? He's keeping them in balance, and he's doing it just so easily and comfortably. And we have Ganesh, and I think is it Hestia? I think so, in the background. And we have these stormy waves, but it's not affecting him, right? He's kind of in his own world almost. Just focusing on that balance very comfortably. Now here for the 3. I love this. I love that we have this kind of triangulation with the gems or the pentacles. Really interesting that we have this magnet, and then, I mean, it could be a watch, could be a compass. I feel like, especially given this situation, it's a compass, and it's so interesting that we have that magnet, which, you know, affects compasses, right? It affects how the bearing and everything. So, there's so much you could take away from this, right? Where's your focus going? Is it going on the magnet? Is it going on the crystals, on that working together kind of thing? It's just interesting. This is really, really like this, because to me, so often with the 4, you know, you can read it as like a kind of like a greed or miserliness, right? Or you could read it as like really needing to hold on to those resources for yourself. Maybe something's coming up that is going to require them, and you know, you don't want to give them away. You want to kind of ration them, right? Here, it's such a unique imagery. I feel like it's more of a compulsion, right? Like, you know, think like hoarding or something, you know? The person doesn't really look like they want to hold on to this, but they have to. You know, and he's got this demon devil on his back. This is really interesting. Love this one. This one reminds me so much of that scene in Lord of the Rings when they're trying to get into the caves of Moria, and they can't get the doors to open, and it's like, so he's there. He hasn't quite given up. Like, he's laying down, but his eyes are open. You know, he's got that bird, and they're just kind of, you know, they may be defeated for the moment, but not forever. And I really like this. This card is interesting. So I did look this one up previously in the book, because to me, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, this feels like kind of colonialism, right? But there's no mention of that in the book. It's just, you know, it's like a merchant guy. But I mean, definitely, if you know, it's interesting. I love this. I love that we have a miner instead of a farmer. You know, because so much care needs to be taken care to not destroy the gems, you know, because so easily, you know, if you hit them the wrong way or hit them too much, or maybe you hit a rock that can, you know, whatever, you could break them, you could destroy them. And you also have to be careful of the tunnels, that they don't collapse, that you don't get lost. So there's a lot of judgment, and I think a lot of trust that you have to have in yourself to do that kind of work, right? And also, I think people that do this work, that are successful, I think have to have a very keen intuition, right? A keen sense of what's going on around them, of where they need to go, where they need to dig, how deeply. So I really like that. Now we have this guy hard at work with the lovely bat. And wasn't there? I thought there was another creature. Maybe not. But he's got a lovely bat. What more do you need? And here, all these beautiful gems just ready to be picked, to be plucked. Beautiful. And again, I love that we have this background, but it's just kind of blurred a little bit. Doesn't really matter, but it adds a little. And 10. And I love this, the rays going out, because to me that kind of speaks to that over. You know, you know, here we've attained, right? You got it all. This is like more than that. It's so much more. And that the growth of the flowers, it just feels like that overabundance, which I really like. And then again, we have the knave with a bat for the young knave, and that fabulous mole for the experienced one holding a bagua, which is so great. And the knight still reminds me of He-Man. So much. I think, isn't that what He-Man rode, was the white tiger? I think so. Anyway, but I love that she has, whatchamacallit, a slingshot. And what I assume is a gem. And I think that's wonderful. I love that. It's so much better than just like a sword, you know. And now that queen with, again, that bottled bird, and to me it just speaks of that power that's under control, right? And look at her posture. She's very, very comfortable, you know. She's not on high alert. She's comfortable in who she is and where she is, how she is. Now this king is a little unique to me. He just feels very, I mean, he's surrounded by his riches, and I don't know, sometimes when I look at him, I feel like he's getting ready to give you a gem. Other times I feel like he's just kind of looking at it for himself, right? Like, oh, this is mine. And he's definitely clutching on, right? But I think that's great, because I think depending on the reading, you know, you could very easily go either way with that. And I love that. Love, love, love this ace. So beautiful and so powerful. And you know, we have this hand coming up in the gem, but then this snake, is the snake gonna keep you from the gem? Or is it saying, oh, go ahead, go get it? It's interesting. You know, is there an element of danger or risk in going for this? Certainly could be. Love this Two of Cups. And I mean, we have all of this duality stuff coming in. We have the dark and then the light. We have the gold and the silver. We have this, for obviously man and woman, richly dressed and appointed, and then very casual. Definitely two different classes, right? We're talking about. I think that's a Kirin, which those are fabulous. So I really, the sea and the land, I love that we have so much coming together. And of course, I mean, it's wonderful. So, and even the water coming out of the cups is beginning to merge. Now this card is interesting. Personally, I tend not to like a lot of modern stuff in my decks. And certainly, we have like a jean jacket vest thing, little bikinis and skirts, and, definitely modern feel. And I know fireworks have been around a really long time, but in this situation, it feels very modern, right? But it just works. It just beautifully, wonderfully works. And look at their faces. I mean, it's just fabulous. This is a great deck, I think. If you're not really familiar with the card meanings, this could be a great deck for you, because I don't think you need to be. I think it's really easy to read. Love this four. He's like I feel like he's like bemoaning the loss of the cups to the squirrel. But look at this. That is gorgeous. Love the way that's done. Really, really nice. This one's really interesting. Let's read this one because, the previous one I talked way too much about it, so we're not going to do that. But I am going to read it. So, and just his paragraph. I'm not going to read all the keywords. So in difficult times, we may be consumed with our emotions, and we may overeat or excessively drink in an attempt to self-medicate. Oh my God, this is like exactly what I was talking about too. That's fine. I didn't even read this before. Instead of looking at the problem objectively and trying to find solutions, we instead make the mistake of making the issue a part of our identity. Once we realize we're putting up walls and wallowing in our despair, we can then begin to pull ourselves out of our misery and move forward. And I think that's fabulous. And one of the things I like about this card is there's, to me, an implication that that this is a choice. Don't misunderstand. I don't mean like somebody's like, oh, I'm going to choose to be miserable. That's not what I'm saying. But you can get out of this, right? It may not be easy, may not be quick, but you can get out of it. Look, the reality is sometimes stuff happens and we have no control over that thing. You can always control how you respond and react. But sometimes there are things that are so powerful or so far-reaching that you have limited ability in what you can do. This, remember, it's cups, right? It's feelings. This you can control. And again, I'm not trying to say that it's quick or easy, but it's possible. And that's powerful. All right, I'm going to stop, though. That is a super creepy doll. I am just saying. But this is a fabulous card. And I love this inclusion of those candy canes. Because, look, if you celebrate Christmas, if you had even one decent Christmas as a kid, I feel like, man, that would suck you back, right? Really just takes me back. I love the lotuses coming out. I think they're all lotuses of the cups. One of my clients gave me a succulent in a mug. And it's just the sweetest thing. It reminds me of that too, obviously. But lovely, lovely. Just wonderful. Love the little castle in the background. All right, now here for the 7. It's fabulous that, she's in that meditative state. So there's that implication that this isn't something that you can just decide upon on a conscious level, right? You really need to get in tune with your unconscious too to make that best possible choice for yourself. And I love that. The 8 is fabulous. Now, he's not leaving his vessels behind, but they're all upside down, right? There's all this rain he could be capturing in them, but he's not. He's letting it fall out as he goes on his journey with his backpack, right? So he's not ready to fill them up yet because he's still got places to go. Love this guy. First of all, that is the cutest little bartender ever. He's the kind of bartender you want to give a hug at the end of the night. Love this celebratory vibe, all the streamers, and we have quite a rainbow, but rainbow-like thing going on. Love it. I just love it. He's so stinking cute. I love the wink. Okay, excuse my nail. I'm so sorry. I have not had time to get my nails done. Soon, though. Love this. Very, very standard kind of 10. Love the way the cups or vessels were incorporated into this archway, this entrance, maybe even a portal. I love how it mirrors that rainbow in the back. Love the the mountains kind of create like a barrier or a wall almost, right? Protecting them. So that's fabulous. Love. Oh. Okay. Now we have the young knave, and then that seasoned one is a pirate, which is fabulous. Love that. Love even the difference in the fish. Right? It's just really, really well done. I love the way the backgrounds. Really well done. I love this deck. I really do. And now we have the knight, completely submerged and comfortable. I mean, he's a skeleton guy, right? So definitely kind of a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of vibe. The undead pirate. But, so he's submerged in the waters, and he's fine with that, And in fact, we even have, and I haven't read the write-up for this, so I don't know, but to me, right, that's like a secondary pool. So to me, it looks like he's ready to get on this turtle, this steed, and go even deeper, which I love. And now the queen, again, completely submerged and completely comfortable with her like seaweed skirt, which is fabulous. But I mean, a very comfortable posture. She's got the cup. Is she going to offer it to you? Maybe. Because it's definitely out there. It's not like clutched to her, She's not afraid of losing it or, sharing it. And again, we have that bottle with her creature. And now the king. So this guy, I feel like he's just I don't know. This is the kind of king that's going to sit with you and drink with you and make merry with you. That's just the vibe I get. It's just fabulous. I mean, the little okay sign is just fabulous. And he's got all the hearts coming out. But he still has the trident, right? So he'll be warm and welcoming. But he's powerful, And this, I love this ace. Really just exquisitely done. Really, really lovely. Okay, I feel like this is taking long, so I'm going to try to speed up. This one, pretty standard depiction, right? 2 of swords, 2 of blades. This one, I gotta take a drink. This one, at first glance, you may think, there we go, 3 swords and a heart. But it's so much more. And this is very, very clever, the way this was done. So we have this basically a Venn diagram, right? And we have cogitare, which is like to think, basically. Cognitionis, which is to examine. Intellectus, which is to comprehend, right? So when all these things overlap, that's when we get that sorrow. So, swords are thoughts. So I love this showing that, when you overthink, when you kind of read into things too much, like you're creating this sorrow for yourself that doesn't necessarily have to exist. Which again can be very empowering, because if you're creating it, you can stop creating it. I'm just saying. And again, I'm not saying it's quick, not saying it's easy, just saying it's possible. So I love that. And then at the bottom we have said Libera nos malo mafo, which means deliver us from evil. And I did have to look all these up. So it's not in the guidebook. But quick Google search. But I love this. I really do. Really love the way that was done. Love the way this is done. I love that everything's just that kind of grayscale, except we have some color here in the swords and here. You know? And even like, you know, I feel like the dragon would be like his guardian, but the dragon's resting too. You know, the bird's watching over him, but they're at rest, you know? So I like it. This one's really unique. I did look up the description for this one because I was kind of like, what the heck's going on? But once I read it, I'm like, oh. So this is like the usurper king, right? So, you know, it speaks strongly, of course, of treachery and watchfulness. This is really interesting. Love this. Oh, I don't know, like I can feel myself there. It's really, really nice. And I like that, you know, often we see a woman or a person being kind of ferried by someone else. In this case, it's just this one person making their own way. I like that. Here for the 7. Love that we have like this ninja coming through, being all sneaky. It's just fun. I love that moon. And here for the 8, really, really interesting. I love the hands, you know, and the chains. And I mean, this person is so bound, you know, they're blindfolded, they're gagged. You have this creepy little guy in the back. I mean, they're securely bound. And here we have like the voodoo doll, the candles, the like a potion, and that fear. And you have to wonder, are they afraid because of something they created, something they brought into the world? Right? That's what it seems like. So it's really, really interesting. And now for the 10. Really like the way we have the birds perched on each sword. You know, we see the storm. And there's almost like an emptiness beyond. You know, everywhere else that we have, you know, we have like a background. Like, you might not see it clearly because it is often blurred. But, I don't know, I think maybe because of this sort of cliff thing going on, it just feels like there's this wonderful unknown, you know, which I love. And even here, it's almost like the abyss, right? Like maybe they left that form and just stepped out into it. Love that. And now the knave, young and seasoned. The knight, we have Kali and a dragon, and you can see we have elemental symbols. So there's a lot in each card, and it's already, oh my god, we're almost at an hour, and we're not even at the majors, but we almost are. There's so much more than I'm even touching on, but just for time, I feel like, you know. So again, we have the queen. Now this queen, much more, like she's still comfortable, but I feel like she's about to spring up, right? Love the way so much has been incorporated into the card. Love this king. Super fabulous. You know, with his birds and his sword's down, but again, I feel like he could very quickly, very powerfully spring up. And this gorgeous ace. Just lovely. Really, really love it. Okay. So now let's get into the majors. I need a drink. Okay. So, I don't know what this fuzz is doing. Driving me nuts. So, I don't even remember if I mentioned, but so for the Fool, we have a 0. We also have a 22, right? Because he's there at the beginning, he's there at the end, which of course is but a new beginning. And there's so much that I'm not going to get into because it's going to take too long. Love the Magician. Love him. He is fabulous. And I will say, in the guidebook, he talks about the dreadlocks were a specific choice to show like that kind of what's the word? I can't even think of the word. Not reckless, but that, like not caring what people think, kind of like a rebellious type thing. And I like here that he's still got them, but they're neat. And we even have the affinity, which is fabulous. It's got like a little scrying mirror. I think that's what it is. I just love it. Love the High Priestess. I love that she's behind the veil, right? Her eyes, right? So she's just always seeing back there. I mean, that's what it speaks to me anyway. Yeah, just really, really lovely. We see the blossoming on the scroll. It's just, it's fabulous. And now the Empress. Now, let's read the Empress. We haven't read any of the majors. So let's do that really quickly. Okay. So now again, for the majors, we do have a big color image. We have keywords, and then we have a paragraph. So the Empress represents creativity, fertility, new ideas, Mother Nature, and nurturing. She is protective because new ideas need the care to grow and become strong. The Empress shows us the influences of the planet Venus. She possesses a shield, the counterpart to the sword, symbolic of the receptive attributes of nature. The weather vane in the field bears the empirical emblem of the two-headed eagle, a symbol of regality and enlightenment. This Empress carries the numerical value of 3. The law of nature that she presides over is that of the triangle, the manifestation of ideas and the principle of attraction. Nature itself represents her throne. When the Empress appears to you in a reading, she calls on you to fully utilize your imagination and creativity to bring your ideas into the physical world. She is telling you that the creative process is a divine gift, and she shows you how alive and radiant you become from the glow of the creative process. The Empress is the embodiment of nature, bringing things into being. So I love that. And to me, this also spoke of direction, right? Okay. So now, and if you want to see them together, the Emperor. Really interesting way this was. Like at first, I thought it was like blood splatter. Beautiful and so smart. There's so much attention to detail in this deck, and I'm not going to do it justice in this short amount of time. I mean, we could do a card, a video, and not run out of things, I think, to discuss. But I love this Hierophant. If you can kind of see, it's really interesting. And again, there's just so much there to pick and pull from. It's really interesting. And we have multiple symbols of faith, right? It's not just one. And now we're back to like a really modern kind of view. But again, I like it. Really, I love this. I love this with the eye and the bonsai. I mean, it's just, there's so much detail and thought in all of these cards. Love the 7. Very, very unique. And the 8 definitely brings to mind Durga. I don't know if that's the intent, but you know, that's what I say. So let's see. Oh my god, I was giving you numbers, wasn't I? Instead of, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's funny. Okay. Okay, this is long. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I do just want to see. It doesn't mention Dark. I mean, it's just the tiger that makes me think of her, and just strength in general. Love that we have Leo. Yeah, this is really long. I'm not gonna. But I love how, the tiger in this card represents our animalistic behavior, as well as the rage and impulsiveness that we should curtail to lead harmonious lives. So I love that we go there. So obviously, have I been saying the numbers the whole time? I don't even know. Well, no, I know I told you that was the Magician, High Priestess, Empress, Emperor, Hierophant. Okay, so Lovers, right, for 6. Chariot for 7. Strength for 8. And of course, Hermit for 9. He is lovely. And we have the Rosy Cross, right? I love that we have like focus. See inside? We have like that kind of like DNA thing going on. Really, really nice. And this, the way that it kind of disappears, it makes me think, like, is he tethered? Is someone hanging on to it? Because notice his hair doesn't look particularly windy, right? And maybe it's just, he didn't do it or whatever, but to me it just speaks to something going on here. And I think depending on the reading and how it feels at that moment, I may have different takeaways for that, which I love. And now for the wheel. Really, really interesting. I love that it's almost like a Russian roulette type of thing, right? It's just blindfold, like there's so many possibilities. It's really neat. And now here we have Justice. There's no sword. Definitely, that the heart and the feather, very, well, obviously very Egyptian themed. But also it's, a lot of times Justice card can feel very maybe heavy, a little intimidating sometimes. And this one, it's her expression, right? It just feels like it's going to be okay, right? A judgment's going to happen, but it's not going to be horrible. And the Hanged Man. Really, really interesting. Love that snake. Is he about to speak? Is he about to strike? And his guitar. Love this death card. Really, really interesting. So much going on. And Temperance. She is so lovely. Look at the feathers on the wings. They're just gorgeous. Love this. There's just something. Again, it's. I mean, that's not the point of the Temperance card, but there's a feeling like it's okay. It's just gonna be okay, you know. That I really like. There's a softness and sweetness to this card, and definitely the color has a lot to do with that. The Devil, we have pretty sort of standard. Really interesting that we have kind of like a phallic mushroom here and a let's say a non-phallic mushroom here. Really interesting. And of course they're transforming, right? But it doesn't feel like the transformation's complete, at least not to me. Like there's still time to create a change. I love this tower so much. Like, look at his face. Fabulous. Just fabulous. And beautiful. It's really beautifully done. Now here, so I think that so this the star, it's really unique. It often with the star we see like an angelic kind of figure, like something. This is like just a woman, right? Like, I mean, that's how I see her. But look what she's pouring. And I love it. We have this starfish and we have that star in the sky. It's just very this deck as a whole, to me, feels very empowering. It feels very much like this is in your control. You can do something about it. It's just like the vibe I get overall. Love this moon. Really interesting. I love the use of the crystals. It's just, it's lovely. And the sun. I love that sun. It's really kind of charming. Yeah, we gotta wrap this up. I know I'm taking forever. And here, I love that we have like the chakras, and it's like they're all like the trumpet call is kind of activating everything, you know. At least that's... He is not happy about somebody. At least that's how it feels to me. And for this card, you can't tell here, so it doesn't matter if you don't like renames. But in the guidebook, it's renamed Revelation, which I think is fabulous, and it gets right to the point. And now the world. I just love the expressions. Okay, so let's go ahead, give a super quick shuffle, and I'm going to lay them out because I know I'm taking forever. And I really wanted to read more of the guidebook because it's fabulous, but I don't want to bore you. So remember to like, share, and subscribe, understanding that, you know, when you subscribe, it really helps out this channel, helps other people discover it. Just trying to see if anybody's like breaking in my house. All right, beautiful shuffling, really nice, really easy. I cannot say enough good things about this deck. I really enjoy it. It's a deck that I can very happily spend a lot of time with. And I have been, and I'm going to continue. I really like it. It reads beautifully, really clearly, really powerfully. And again, I do think that it's a deck that is very empowering in the way the messages come across. I've actually used this with one client so far, which is unusual for me. And it was the perfect deck for them at that moment. And it wasn't planned, but while I was talking to him, I just felt like this is the deck I need to use, and it was perfect. And they really liked it as well. So honestly, I can't believe this is a mass market deck because it's so good. Like, man, good job, US Games. You know, we have wonderful diversity. And it's wonderful. I guess there's some age diversity. You know, he's older. He's not young. But it's a powerful deck. It really is. And this is a deck that it's going to give you what you put into it. You can use this just kind of taking surface level stuff and get your standard meanings from them and move about your day, and that's great. You can dive deeply into the symbols that are used. You can kind of go your own way with aspects of the cards. I mean, there's so much. I really recommend this deck. I think it's so fabulous, and I'm so surprised by how fabulous it is, because it was a kind of a whim purchase, but sometimes those are the best ones, right? But I wasn't expecting it to be as fabulous as it is, and it's just such a lovely surprise. And again, the art, you know what it is? It's the faces are a little different from my normal aesthetic. That's what it is. It's just the faces. I don't mind them. I don't dislike them. They're just different. But I mean, it's beautiful. Oh, it's such a great deck. It's such a great deck. So hopefully this wasn't too terribly long. There was so much more I wanted to say, but it was just too long. So let me know what you think. Again, this is by Wayne Rodney. And wow, he's fabulous. He knocked it out of the park. And yeah, let me know what you think. And until next time, just be wonderful to yourself. Be really, really wonderful, because you deserve the best, only the best, all the best. And that is my wish for you.